The construction of Noah's Ark is one of the most impressive and mysterious stories in the Bible. Measuring 135 meters in length, 22.5 meters in width, and 13.5 meters in height, the Ark compares to the largest modern cruise ships, but was built in an era without advanced technology. This gigantic vessel had to house two of every animal species on the planet for 40 days and 40 nights during a global flood that transformed the Earth. Imagine the magnitude of such an endeavor. A devoted family without modern tools, constructing a structure capable of withstanding turbulent waters that covered the entire Earth. The precision of the biblical measurements surprises even the most experienced scholars, raising fascinating questions about the logistics and feasibility of this divine mission. Beyond the impressive dimensions, the very existence of the Ark challenges our modern understanding. How could thousands of species survive in a relatively small space for such an intense period? This mystery is just the tip of the iceberg of curiosities we will explore about Noah's Ark. The Ark stands out for its extraordinary dimensions, which continue to impress to this day. It compares to some of the largest modern ships, showcasing an impressive architectural feat for the time it was built. To contextualize, consider that a standard soccer field measures about 105 meters in length, meaning the Ark extended almost beyond the boundaries of an entire field. This vastness allowed for the accommodation of an immeasurable diversity of animal species, each with its specific space and habitat needs. Compared to modern cruise ships, the Ark may initially seem smaller. However, its width and height provided stability and cargo capacity rivaling the most advanced contemporary shipbuilding. The engineering behind the Ark reveals a combination of remarkable precision and innovation. Without access to today's tools and technologies, Noah and his family faced the challenge of building a structure that not only floated, but also withstood the intense forces of the flood that covered the Earth. The wood used, likely cedar or cypress, was meticulously worked to ensure the impermeability and resistance necessary to face the turbulent waters. Inside the Ark, the internal organization was equally impressive. The vessel was divided into multiple compartments and floors, allowing the proper separation of the various species and ensuring that each had the space needed to survive during the 40 days and 40 nights of the storm. Adequate ventilation and internal temperature management were crucial aspects of maintaining a habitable environment for all occupants, both human and animal. The construction of the Ark required complex logistics, from sourcing and processing thousands of wooden planks to coordinating the arrangement of the animals. Every detail, from weight distribution to wall waterproofing, reflected meticulous planning aimed at ensuring the survival of all species aboard. This dedication highlights not only Noah's faith and determination, but also the incredible engineering skill employed in building the Ark. When comparing the Ark with modern ships, we realize that although technology has advanced significantly, the fundamental principles of engineering and design remain similar. The need to create a stable structure capable of bearing heavy loads and resisting adverse conditions is a constant that connects Noah's Ark to today's ships. This temporal connection highlights the timelessness of human abilities to overcome monumental challenges, whether in antiquity or the modern era. The grandeur of Noah's Ark impresses not only because of its size, but also because of the symbolism it carries. It represents an act of preservation, hope, and renewal, values that resonate deeply across the centuries. The story of the Ark inspires not only by its physical scale, but also by its ability to unite faith, engineering, and determination in a single extraordinary endeavor. Noah, faced with a monumental task, had to ensure that every species had its safe place on the Ark. This was not just a matter of physical space, but also of meeting the specific needs of each animal. Predators and prey, animals requiring specific temperatures and humidity levels, all had to coexist harmoniously. The logistics of feeding and caring for thousands of animals daily without modern resources underscores the magnitude of Noah's mission. Furthermore, the genetic diversity of the species presented a significant challenge. With only 2 individuals of each species, the Ark had to be a reservoir not just of life, but also of sufficient genetic diversity to ensure the survival and continuity of the species after the flood. This raises fascinating questions about genetics and the resilience of species in the face of such a limited population. The ability to adapt and proliferate from just 2 individuals is a testament to the incredible biodiversity and robustness of life on Earth. Maintaining a stable environment inside the Ark was also crucial. Without modern technologies for climate control and air purification, Noah and his family relied on natural methods to regulate temperature and ensure proper ventilation. Managing waste and preventing disease among the animals required a careful and meticulous approach, reflecting a deep understanding of the biological needs of living beings. The logistics of food storage were another critical aspect. Ensuring that all animals had constant access to adequate food and water during the 40 days and 40 nights of the storm required detailed planning and flawless execution. Preserving food in a humid environment prone to spoilage was an additional challenge, highlighting the need for innovative and adaptive solutions by Noah. Beyond practical challenges, Noah's mission carried profound emotional dimensions. The responsibility of preserving animal life and ensuring the continuity of species demanded not only physical strength, but also extraordinary emotional and spiritual resilience. Noah's unwavering faith in his divine mission and his trust in God to guide him through such adversities are elements that resonate powerfully with audiences, inspiring admiration and reflection on the nature of faith and human perseverance. The interaction between different species within the Ark is another intriguing aspect. The peaceful coexistence of predators and prey, animals from diverse habitats, and those with varied behaviors required harmonious collaboration and adaptation. This delicate balance within the Ark not only reflects the complexity of nature, but also symbolizes the possibility of peaceful coexistence and equilibrium, even in extreme conditions. The preservation of aquatic life during the flood adds another layer of complexity to the narrative. Creatures that depended on underwater environments required adapted spaces within the Ark to survive. The inclusion of aquatic animals and maintaining their living conditions presented an additional challenge, further highlighting the breadth of Noah's mission and the scope of his responsibility to preserve all life. Efforts to understand the feasibility of Noah's Ark also involved the exploration of archaeological and geological evidence that might corroborate the historical existence of this event. Over the years, researchers have attempted to locate possible remains of the Ark and evidence of a global flood, adding an investigative and scientific dimension to the biblical narrative. These efforts not only seek to validate Noah's story, but also deepen our understanding of catastrophic events in Earth's history. The resilience and adaptability of species after the flood are also highly relevant themes. Noah's story is not just about survival during the flood, it is also about the reconstruction and renewal of life on Earth. The diversity and abundance of species that emerged after the flood reflect a rebirth of biodiversity and a new era of coexistence and ecological balance. After the stormy days and the calm that followed, the Earth emerged transformed. Noah's Ark, a symbol of preservation and renewal, became the starting point for the diversity of life we know today. From a limited number of progenitors, biodiversity flourished, revealing a fascinating process of variation and adaptation. Each species aboard the Ark represented a unique chapter in the history of life. From majestic lions to tiny insects, all played a crucial role in maintaining ecological balance. With only 2 individuals of each species, the genetic foundation for the continuity of life was established. This scenario raises intriguing questions about how genetic variability was maintained and how species managed to diversify from such a constrained starting point. From this point forward, the Earth witnessed a renaissance of species. For example, felines, originating from a primitive pair, spread across continents, adapting to different environments and developing the characteristics we know today. The same transformation occurred with canids, whose descendants varied in size, behavior, and habitat, from small foxes to imposing wolves. This variation extended beyond mammals. The diversity observed in birds, reptiles, amphibians, and even fish reflected the incredible adaptability and evolutionary capacity of species. Each group faced unique challenges, from climate changes to resource competition, driving natural selection and the emergence of new traits that allowed survival and flourishing in varied environments. The comparison with human variation is equally fascinating. Like animals, humans also exhibit a vast range of physical and cultural characteristics. Human genetic diversity, with its multiple ethnicities and adaptations to different climates and geographies, reflects a similar process of variation and adaptation. This similarity suggests a profound interconnectedness among all forms of life, united by a shared history of resilience and evolution. Beyond physical transformations, the social and behavioral interactions of species also played a fundamental role in post-flood diversification. Cooperation, competition, and symbiosis among different species created complex and dynamic ecosystems where each organism contributed uniquely to the whole. This interconnection of lives and habitats illustrates the beauty and complexity of nature, where every variation is an adaptive response to a constantly changing world. Emerging from the Ark, species embarked on journeys of self-discovery and development, shaping the planet in ways we can still observe today. Forests, oceans, mountains, and deserts are adaptations and changes that have occurred since those turbulent days. According to the scriptures, all peoples descend from Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. This shared ancestry emphasizes that biologically distinct human races do not exist. The physical variations observed among different human groups are the result of adaptations to various environments and climatic conditions over time. Traits such as skin color, hair type, and body structure are manifestations of these adaptations, not indicators of distinct races. The true essence of humanity, as presented in the Bible, lies in the unity and interconnectedness of all individuals. Each ethnicity and culture has developed uniquely, contributing to the rich tapestry of human experience. These differences should be seen as sources of diversity and richness, not as bases for discrimination or hierarchy. However, throughout history, these physical and cultural differences have been distorted to justify exclusionary and prejudiced practices. Racism, a deeply rooted phenomenon in society, arises from ignorance and fear of the unknown. It creates artificial barriers among humans, promoting the idea of one group's superiority over another, even without any foundation. The sociology of racism reveals how prejudiced attitudes are maintained and perpetuated through institutional systems and social norms. From segregationist laws to discriminatory practices in workplaces and education, racism manifests in various ways, undermining social cohesion and equal opportunities. These power structures not only divide people but also hinder the development of a truly inclusive and just society. The story of Noah and humanity's unity in the Ark offers a powerful metaphor to overcome these divisions. If all people descend from a common ancestor, diversity is a celebration of human adaptation and resilience, not a justification for discrimination. Recognizing this essential unity can be the first step toward dismantling prejudices and fostering coexistence based on mutual respect and appreciation of differences. Reflecting on the distinction between human races and the sociology of racism invites us to reevaluate our own perceptions and attitudes. It is a call to educate ourselves, challenge stereotypes, and actively work to create an environment where diversity is not only accepted, but celebrated. Empathy and understanding are powerful tools for building bridges between different groups, promoting harmony and cooperation. The post-flood narrative also highlights humanity's responsibility to preserve and respect diversity. Just as Noah had the mission to preserve life on Earth, we, as a contemporary society, bear the responsibility to protect and value human diversity. This involves combating racism in all its forms, promoting equal rights and opportunities, and celebrating the cultural richness each individual brings. Overcoming racism is not only a moral imperative, but also a necessity for social and economic progress. Societies that value diversity tend to be more innovative, resilient, and capable of addressing complex challenges. Collaboration among different perspectives and experiences enriches decision-making and fosters more effective solutions to the problems we collectively face. The story of Noah's Ark, therefore, is a lesson on the importance of unity and diversity in humanity. It inspires us to seek harmony and collaboration, celebrating the differences that make us unique and strengthening the bonds that unite us as one human family. Through this reflection, we are called to build a fairer, more inclusive and compassionate world where the true essence of humanity is recognized and valued in all its fullness. And what about aquatic species? The vastness of the waters covered by the flood raises an intriguing question. How did aquatic species manage to survive amidst a global flood that submerged almost the entire surface of the Earth? The answer lies in the Ark's broad vision and multifaceted mission, which aimed to preserve all forms of life, not just those dwelling on dry land. Within the Ark, preserving aquatic animals required an equally careful and detailed approach. Marine creatures, which depend on specific environments to survive, needed suitable conditions to ensure their survival during the storm. Water, unlike land, became a hostile and unpredictable environment, threatening the stability of aquatic species. To address these challenges, the Ark had special compartments dedicated to aquatic animals. These spaces were designed to maintain water in a controlled environment, protecting marine creatures from the turbulent external waters. Managing water quality, temperature, and circulation were critical aspects to ensure that aquatic animals could survive and thrive within the Ark. In addition to physical challenges, preserving aquatic life required a deep understanding of these species' biological needs. Noah and his family had to ensure that each aquatic animal had sufficient access to food and oxygen, maintaining a delicate balance to prevent the deterioration of living conditions within the Ark. The logistics of feeding and caring for such diverse species was a monumental task, further emphasizing the complexity of Noah's divine mission. The presence of mythical creatures, often referred to as lake monsters or legendary aquatic beings, adds a layer of mystery and fascination to the narrative of Noah's Ark. These creatures, while often seen as mere legends, symbolize the vastness and diversity of aquatic life the Ark needed to protect. Their inclusion in the story reinforces the idea that preserving life during the flood was a comprehensive effort encompassing all forms of existence, both known and unknown. The survival of aquatic animals also underscores the interconnection among all forms of life. The health of aquatic ecosystems is intrinsically linked to the overall health of the Earth, and preserving these species during the flood was essential to ensuring the continuity of natural cycles once the waters receded. The resilience of aquatic creatures, often seen as symbols of adaptation and survival, reflects life's inherent strength to persist even under the most adverse conditions. Noah's mission was not limited to building a colossal vessel. It was deeply rooted in a divine covenant that guided every step of the endeavor. God, in his wisdom and purpose, gave Noah detailed instructions that were fundamental to preserving life on Earth during the impending flood. Noah was chosen for his righteousness and faithfulness, entrusted with a task that required not only construction skills, but also unwavering faith. The divine instructions were clear and specific. Build an ark with precise dimensions, use resilient materials, and above all, ensure that 2 of every animal species, a male and a female, were housed in the vessel. This duplicity was essential to secure the continuity of each species after the waters receded. The ark, with its meticulously planned dimensions, was not just a refuge, it symbolized hope and renewal. Every wooden plank and every internal compartment reflected meticulous care to create a safe and sustainable environment for the living beings it housed. Noah's divine vision transcended mere survival. It encompassed the preservation of biological diversity and the re-establishment of ecological balance after the catastrophe. However, the scriptures present intriguing nuances that spark debates among scholars and theologians. There are discrepancies in the versions regarding the exact number of animals to be brought into the ark. While some passages suggest Noah was instructed to bring 7 pairs of each species, others mention only 2. These textual variations raise questions about the interpretation and translation of the original Hebrew texts, adding a layer of complexity to the understanding of Noah's mission. These apparent contradictions do not diminish the grandeur of the story. Rather, they highlight the depth and richness of the biblical account. The diversity of versions reflects the oral transmission of the story over centuries and the cultural adaptation of narratives for different communities. Regardless of the exact number, the core message remains unchanged. The preservation of life and obedience to divine will are fundamental pillars of Noah's story. Noah and his family faced immense challenges, from acquiring the necessary materials to organizing the myriad species they would shelter. Every decision made during construction was guided by an unwavering faith in God's promise of salvation and renewal. To better understand these apparent contradictions, it is essential to delve into the linguistic and historical analysis of the scriptures. In the original Hebrew, the word used to describe the animals is neshim, which can be translated as pairs. However, the context and grammar can influence the interpretation of this word. Some scholars argue that the use of neshim may vary depending on the animal species and their specific survival needs after the flood. Additionally, Jewish and Christian traditions have developed different interpretations over time. In Jewish tradition, it is often accepted that 7 pairs of each species were required, particularly for animals considered clean or with multiple subspecies. On the other hand, some Christian traditions interpret the mandate as 2 individuals of each species, emphasizing the need for a male and a female to ensure post-flood reproduction. Bible translations also play a crucial role in this discussion. Over centuries, translating the Bible into different languages involved nuances that may have led to varied interpretations of the number of animals to be brought into the ark. The Septuagint, an ancient Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible, for instance, uses terms that can be interpreted in slightly different ways, contributing to the diversity of understandings regarding the number of animals. Another intriguing perspective comes from archaeological discoveries and recent textual studies. Some researchers suggest that the reference to 7 pairs may symbolize a sufficient number to repopulate the Earth, especially considering the need for genetic diversity for species survival. This interpretation views the 7 pairs not merely as a numerical literalism, but as a representation of completeness in the preservation of life. Conversely, the mention of 2 pairs in other passages can be understood as a minimum requirement for species preservation, ensuring that each species had a reproductive pair. This approach emphasizes the need to maintain an essential biological balance for the continuity of species after the flood. The discovery of new tablets and ancient manuscripts has further fueled this discussion. Recent studies point to textual variations that support the interpretation of pairs rather than a specific quantity. These discoveries suggest that, in many cases, the precision in translating original words may have been compromised over time, leading to different interpretations of the exact number of animals on the ark. These contradictions, far from weakening the biblical narrative, enrich the story by adding layers of complexity and depth. They invite reflection on the nature of faith, interpretation, and the transmission of knowledge across generations. The diversity of interpretations about the number of animals on the ark demonstrates how ancient stories can evolve and adapt to different cultures and historical contexts, while retaining their relevance and capacity to inspire contemporary debates. Understanding these contradictions also underscores the importance of ongoing scripture and archaeological studies. Each new discovery has the potential to shed light on previously obscure aspects of the story, offering a more complete and detailed view of Noah's mission and the construction of the ark. This quest for knowledge deepens not only our understanding of the biblical narrative, but also our connection to the historical and cultural roots that have shaped faith and tradition over centuries. From humanity's early days, the distinction between clean and unclean animals has played a significant role in daily life and religious practices. The narrative of Noah's Ark not only addresses species preservation, but also introduces a complex categorization that has influenced generations of believers and scholars. Noah, upon receiving his divine mission, was instructed to bring specific numbers of animals into the ark. This mission extended beyond quantity to include the quality of the species to be preserved. Clean animals, as defined in the scriptures, were those deemed fit for consumption and sacred rituals. These animals were associated with purity and the capacity to serve as sacrifices, playing a crucial role in religious practice and maintaining the relationship between humanity and the divine. Selecting these animals for the ark ensured not only species survival, but also preserved a value system and beliefs that would shape the morality and spirituality of future generations. Unclean animals, on the other hand, while still part of creation, were seen as unsuitable for consumption and sacred rituals. This distinction created a division that influenced social and dietary behaviors, reinforcing the idea that divine order extends to all aspects of life, including dietary choices and social interactions. This categorization had profound implications for post-Diluvian society. The definition of clean and unclean animals not only affected dietary habits, but also shaped how people interacted with one another and their environment. The presence of clean and unclean animals in the ark symbolized the need for balance and respect for the diversity of creation, reflecting a harmony that should be maintained on Earth after the waters receded. Beyond religious implications, the distinction between clean and unclean animals influenced cultural and social practices. Dietary laws, such as those found in Leviticus 11, established standards that promoted health and hygiene while reinforcing a cultural and spiritual identity. Understanding clean and unclean animals leads to a broader reflection on humanity's relationship with nature. The careful selection of species to be preserved in the ark demonstrates a conscious responsibility toward creation, emphasizing the importance of protecting and respecting all forms of life. This responsibility resonates deeply today, where biodiversity conservation and environmental respect are essential for the planet's sustainability. Interestingly, this distinction is not exclusive to Judeo-Christian tradition. Many cultures worldwide have similar systems for categorizing animals, reflecting a universal understanding of the need for order and balance in coexistence with nature. These similarities point to a fundamental truth about the human condition. The pursuit of harmony and respect for diversity is intrinsic to human experience. Before the flood, Noah's and his family's lives were deeply connected to the land and its natural provisions. Noah's diet reflected the harmony between humanity and creation, primarily consisting of plant-based foods, fruits, nuts, and other natural products generously provided by the earth. Noah, considered a righteous and upright man, lived in a time when diet was a direct expression of the relationship between man and God. Fertile land provided a variety of foods that sustained life in a balanced and sustainable way. Agricultural practices and fruit gathering were carried out with respect and gratitude for creation's generosity, reflecting peaceful and respectful coexistence with nature. However, the advent of the flood brought a radical transformation, not only in Earth's physical landscape, but also in Noah's and his family's dietary practices. After the 40 days and 40 nights of storm, when the waters began to recede and a new era was announced, God granted Noah and his descendants a new directive: the introduction of meat consumption. The transition from a predominantly herbivorous diet to the inclusion of meat represented a profound change in how humans interacted with animals. Previously, animals were seen as companions and integral parts of divine creation, living in harmony with humans. After the flood, the permission to consume meat reflected a new reality where the struggle for survival required adaptations and new dietary practices. This dietary shift also had spiritual and cultural implications. The introduction of meat consumption symbolized a new phase in human history, marked by the need for adaptation and resilience in the face of extreme adversities. Noah and his family, by accepting this change, demonstrated an essential flexibility for survival, balancing gratitude for the salvation received with the need to rebuild and repopulate the earth. Noah, accustomed to a plant-based diet, had to learn to handle the preparation and consumption of meat, a practice that involved new techniques in hunting, preservation, and preparation. This process required practical skills where the need for sustenance coexisted with respect and responsibility for animal life. Additionally, the introduction of meat consumption profoundly influenced social and cultural relationships in the post-Diluvian era. Dietary practices became a reflection of new social dynamics, where meat symbolized strength and survival while maintaining a sacred bond with divine creation. Noah's diet before and after the flood offers a unique perspective on the evolution of human dietary practices. The transformation of his diet is a testament to human adaptability and the importance of aligning physical needs with spiritual and cultural values. Today, in an era where globalization and technology have deeply transformed our dietary practices, fascinating parallels and contrasts can be drawn with Noah's narrative. Modernity has brought a variety of dietary options, allowing choices between plant-based, vegan, vegetarian, or omnivorous diets, each reflecting different values, needs, and environmental impacts. Contemporary society, with its easy access to foods from around the world, highlights the flexibility and diversity of our dietary choices. While Noah's post-flood diet represented a necessary adaptation for survival and rebuilding, our dietary choices today are often influenced by factors such as health, ethics, sustainability, and personal preferences. For instance, meat production is a vital sector of the global economy, but is also subject to intense debates due to its environmental impacts, including greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation, and intensive use of natural resources. This duality between the necessity of meat consumption for survival and its associated environmental challenges invites reflection on the responsibility inherited from Noah's story. Just as Noah balanced life preservation with the need for adaptation, we also face the challenge of finding a balance between our dietary needs and planet conservation. Increasing awareness of climate change and environmental degradation has encouraged a shift toward more sustainable diets, where reducing meat consumption and valuing alternative protein sources are gaining traction. The lessons from Noah's adaptation underscore the importance of flexibility and responsibility in human interactions with nature. As modern society grapples with the complexities of food production and sustainability, the narrative of Noah serves as a reminder of the delicate balance required to honor life and the environment while meeting human needs. Beyond environmental concerns, modern dietary practices also reflect profound cultural and ethical shifts. Veganism and vegetarianism, for instance, have emerged as responses to ethical concerns related to animal welfare and sustainability. These dietary choices represent an evolution in how we perceive our relationship with animals and the environment, echoing Noah's responsibility to preserve all species aboard the ark. Noah's dietary transition can also be seen as a precursor to contemporary discussions about mindful eating. Today, many strive to consume more responsibly and consciously, opting for organic, local, and sustainably sourced foods. This movement reflects a desire to reconnect with the earth and the origins of our food, similar to the connection Noah and his family had with the land before the flood. In the modern context, globalization has enabled the exploration of flavors and culinary traditions from around the world, fostering unprecedented diversity in cuisine. However, this globalization also poses challenges, such as the homogenization of diets and the loss of local food traditions. Noah's story, with his diet transformed after the flood, reminds us of the importance of preserving our cultural roots while adapting to new realities. The evolution of dietary practices also reflects scientific and technological advancements that have transformed how we produce and consume food. Industrial agriculture, biotechnology, and innovations in food preservation are just a few examples of how modernity has shaped our diets in ways Noah and his family could never have imagined. While these innovations have brought undeniable benefits, such as increased productivity and reduced hunger, they also raise concerns about long-term sustainability and health. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share a surprising fact you discovered, or let us know what impressed you the most about this story in the comments. Your feedback is essential for us to continue creating content that sparks your curiosity and enriches your understanding. And of course, if you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to leave a like and join our community. Follow us to stay updated and continue this journey of discovery together. Thank you for being part of this adventure into the past and for helping keep the flame of curiosity and learning alive. See you in the next discovery.